All right, perfect. So hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Cafiero, and myself and my dear friend, Brittany Cara, have teamed up a couple of months ago. I don't ever want to stop it, though. And we're not financially linked, but we just really are aligned in what we believe and kind of the way that we run this business as mamas. Not that you have to be a mom to do this, but if you are just looking for more freedom and flexibility in your life, then we understand. So today I am so excited to introduce an incredibly special guest. I met her it was over 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. And she was actually one of the first 3 people to find out I was pregnant. And that's the amazing thing about this business is it's not just about creating relationships with people that you want to work with, but sometimes it's collaborating with people and growing friendships, people that maybe you would never have came across. Brittany lives in SoCal, but Brigitte lives on the other side of the US. And it's just such an incredible community of women empowering women. So like I said, I met Brigitte over 3 years ago. I was so taken with her story, and I'm going to ask her to share that today because I think so often it's easier for us to get really stuck in what we've gone through or what we're going through, or even in building. I know many of us were like, oh, well, I really need to step out for a few weeks because I've got a lot going on. And sometimes that's the right thing to do. And sometimes that's actually our reason to push through. So Brigitte is a 5-star Golden Circle, 1-star Crystal executive. She is a mama to 3 boys. She can talk a little bit about her family. And she's just such a woman of class and integrity and faith and just incredible. So I adore her dearly, and I got to reconnect with her 2 weeks ago. Her and Brittany and myself all have the same coach that has assisted us in moving through a lot of obstacles. But again, I'm going to bring her out today and let her share her story. And then after we talk about that a little bit, our training topic today is really interviewing business builders. And Brigitte is so good about building on LinkedIn and also about really getting to the point and asking a series of questions to decide if someone is the right fit as a business partner. So Brigitte, come on out and give us a little bit of background on you.
Hey girl, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your team. And I've got some teammates on here too. So thank you. And yeah, we've known each other for about 3 years. And that's the beauty part of our journey. I know a lot of us start the system because we want to be healthier. We want to detox our bodies, but we don't realize the friendships that are going to be made in the journey and there's spiritual awakenings and all the other awakenings that we have. But just a little bit about my story and how I started not only with nutrition and on the program, but then how it just really evolved into the business. So I have 3 boys. They're ages 17, 15, and 13. And so this is a part of the story that not many people have heard about. But when my oldest son was 4 years old, he started developing a lot of skin issues, a lot of medical issues. We were in the hospital in and out all over the nation for about 2 years. And medically, there was nothing that could be done for him. And it was actually, he was about to go in for a CAT scan in PICU in Greenville Hospital, Greenville, South Carolina. And one of the doctors, he was the very first one that talked to me about metal toxicity. I'd never heard about anything about that, but he was telling me about kids with this symptom and metal toxicity. Have your doctors test him for metals. And so they did, and he ended up having some medical adverse reactions to 2 of his vaccines, which were varicella, which explained the skin reaction, and then also pertussis, which is DTP. And then he did test for higher levels of thimerosal, which is mercury. I won't get into the details of all that with vaccines, but that ultimately is what really changed the course of his health for a while. And we started doing a lot of things medically. Nothing was helping him at all. And just staying up at night in the hospitals, I was just researching his symptoms, and I kept reading about organic foods and detoxing. And I was like, okay, he's on 8 different medications. Nothing is helping him. So basically, it's just eliminating dairy, soy, wheat, and all these things and detoxing his body. So we started doing that. And just within a few weeks, his skin started to clear up. And then, and let me just paint the picture for you. When I tell y'all he was sick to the point that he was immobile. He was losing his hair. He was losing mobility in his joints to where probably by the age of 6, he was in a wheelchair. So literally we were taking him to school in 1st grade in a wheelchair. And this is a kid who had complete health, but then his health kept declining. So just to paint the picture of him being sick. And for those of you moms on here who have kids, what it's like, to fight for your child like that. And so I thought, okay, I have nothing to lose, but we're going to just change it up like with his foods. And once we started detoxing his body and doing different things, he started getting some health recovery. And to the point that we were vegan, we were raw foodists. I mean, I was doing all sorts of extreme cleanses, colonics, gallbladder cleanses, liver flushes, you name it. We've done it. And about 4 years on that journey is when one of my coaches, her name is Simran, she was telling me about isogenics. And she was one of those people where if she was putting it in her body, it was good. Like there was just no question about it. And we can talk about that a little later about building rapport. But I didn't even question anything about the system. I didn't question the cost. I didn't question the ingredients. And I was very particular about what we were putting in our bodies at the time. My hesitation at the time was that it was a whey protein. But again, I knew if she was using it, it was good. And immediately within the first 30 days, I had a great product experience. And that was back in summer of 2011. And it really wasn't until about 2 years later, because at that time, that's when I was just starting a separation in my marriage. And it was 2 years later when I realized, okay, it's going to be time for me to create some income, go back to work. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 13 years. And it was through our coach that helped me realize, okay, Brigitte, you don't want to get a job. You want to work, but you don't want to get a job. Let's look at this network marketing model that you're already a part of. You're passionate about nutrition and detox, health and wellness, fitness. Like this is just a perfect platform for you. And so summer 2013, I made the commitment to go all in with my business. And, just a little nugget of that is, for 2 years, I was one of those people, in case you have any of these people on your team, I was one of those people. I was a consultant for 2 years. I was a loyal product user. I went to events. I even did launch parties in that 2-year period. But for me, it just wasn't the right time for me to take it 100% serious. So I know a lot of times we can get frustrated with people, or, we want things more for people than they want it for themselves. And so just take it from experience with me. I was one of those people who I was a consultant for 2 years, went to events. It just did not click for me yet. It wasn't my time yet. And so in summer 2013, that's, I got really serious. That's when I hired a coach. I just went, as Susan Sly says, when your back is up against the wall, you sink or swim. And so I just chose to swim and went completely all in with the business, and really have built the business completely, like 98% by social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Thank you. That is amazing. I think that's so important, because it's so easy for people to look at people and think they're an instant success. And like you said, you don't know the story behind the glory, not just in isogenics, but out of isogenics as well. And I think that's really impactful for so many people on here, that maybe they're dipping their toe in and out, and just to know that it just is up to you to decide. So, here you are 5 years ago now almost, and you're the mom of 3 boys that are, in the middle of like the busyness of middle school and elementary school and all these things going on. So how did you kind of set up your day, and how did you figure out what were the best activities for you to spend your time on that would get you results and let you build this income?
So that's where social media really came into play to my benefit was, so I would create a post and then let the post do the work for me. And I would go to events. It's just like when I would meet people out in public, like at Starbucks or coffee shops or baseball games, everything revolved around the children, and so I don't know how many people you have on here that are building that are also moms, but we don't have a typical 8-hour workday. We build an hour in the morning, and then we go do something, for a couple hours with our kids, and then we build for 2 hours, and then we, it's not a consistent 6 to 8 hours. Rarely. Do I get that sometimes? Yes, but it's rare. It's very rare. But again, that's where the power of social media has really come into play. And then recently, in the last probably 6 or 7 months, I've become more involved, going to networking events, meetup groups, going to various gyms. I love the culture of it all. And I'm learning a lot being, a part of like different gyms, but just really learning to connect and have that human interaction has really helped me in the last several months as well.
So walk us through. I know that you've been whether it's LinkedIn or it's Facebook, when you're doing a post, walk us through kind of what you do when you reach out, or maybe people reach out to you, and how do you kind of set up that process of they've reached out, you get on a phone call, and then of course the questions that you ask to really determine, whether or not that person is ready to be a prospect or ready to be a product user, ready to be a business builder, and where you put your time and attention.
So with Facebook, one of the things that I'm really fond about is just creating that interaction and relationships with people. And, I don't know if you know how to do like Facebook lists. There's a list that you can create on the left side of your page. And that way, if I have people that, okay, these are prospects, so I'll add them to like that certain list. And so when I click on that, it'll show like those are who my prospects are. But just creating that interaction with people and just commenting. Like say, for example, if Emily is one of my prospects, I'll keep her on the forefront and I'll watch her profile and just comment every now and again, like, oh, happy Mother's Day, or looks like you had a great day. A private message, like I spent time this morning, I probably sent out about 15 private messages and just shared with people, hey, looks like, you're doing well. Looks like you're something personal, like they've had surgery and looks like your recovery is going well. Or, hey, I know you're going to Greece on Thursday. Hope you have an awesome trip. Or it's just something interaction. Now the intention is pure. Yes, I really do care about their surgery recovery. I really do want them to have a good trip to Greece, but it's just creating an interaction. It's not always like wanting to sell them something. And, I've never really posted a lot about the products on my page. I mean, I'll, occasionally post before and after picture and talk about nutrition, but really just getting to know people. I'll let them know about the product page, or I'll invite them to an event, or I'll invite them to an experience, Isogenics like online event. And then the same for LinkedIn. Every time I have a new connection on LinkedIn, I will always send them a direct message and welcome them into my network. It's great to connect with like-minded people. Here's what you can expect to see on my page. If you want to learn more about my nutrition system, I have a landing page. It's not my back office and it's not my website, but it's a separate landing page that I just share an overview of the system. And then I have a short video talking about the products. And then from that landing page, they can actually set an appointment if they want to schedule a 15-minute consultation. And that has really helped me filter out people who are serious about the system. But again, it just comes down to creating that relationship and creating that dialogue with people.
I love this. I'm furiously taking notes. I'm like, I did not know about Facebook lists. So that is so helpful. And also landing pages. That is amazing. Yes. Now, so once somebody, you obviously you're constantly sifting and sorting. I mean, you've sifted and sorted with your posts. And then when they've connected, you're reaching out and you're kind of qualifying, and you are building value, but you're also being very upfront with like, hey, this is what you're going to see. You're setting that intention. Once somebody, let's say, watches their video or they reach out on a post, and they schedule a call with you, what is the process you go through? We would love to hear your questions.
Okay, so the questions before they schedule an appointment.
Yeah,
so
sure, absolutely.
I use Calendly. I think some of you use Calendly too, but from Calendly, I actually have a form that they fill out before they can even schedule the appointment. So the things I want to know right away are, what are your health goals? I don't talk about weight loss. I mean, I'll use the term weight management, but the term that I always like to use with people is healthy aging. If I'm just asking someone up front, I don't say anything about weight loss because I think that can be offensive to people, but also to let people know this is not about weight loss. I mean, we are about a lifestyle. It's about healthy aging. It's about giving your body the nutrition and detoxing. So I'll ask them, about their health goals. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you? I ask them what other systems or programs they have used because I like to know that as well. And then I'll ask them, I think I already said this, how serious are you about changing the quality of your health? And I'll ask them to rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. And if they're less than like an 8, I don't even want to have a conversation with them. I'll just let them know, okay, when you're more serious, let me know. And I'd love to connect with you. And, as I've gone along the last few years, now I'll admit in the beginning, I was enrolling everybody. I mean, I was like master enroller, but I was also setting myself up for disappointment because I was just about the enrollment, getting the double PIBs that people were quitting. And then I was disappointed. And my enrollments sometimes are less, but they are also more qualified.
That's huge. So then so you're obviously getting really clear, and you know that when you're getting on the phone with someone that's a possible product user, they want what you have. They have an idea about it. I mean, you're not wasting time to give someone all the information up front. So they're qualified leads. So talk to us now with a business builder. When someone reaches out and they're like, hey, I saw that you are working from home, or you're doing this, or your lifestyle, and they want to know more about what you do, or they're reaching out for an opportunity. Can you walk us through the process with that?
Yeah. And so I basically have the same questions. I actually still carry the list. I'll be happy to share this with you.
We would love that.
You can send it with your team, but I still carry this in my planner. This is the one that I carry in my planner. It's so just raggedy old because it's like 3 years old. And I actually got this from our coach. But some of the questions I'll ask is, again, going back to how serious are you about changing the quality of your health? Really important, I'll ask them, how much time are you willing to put into reaching your goals? What income would change the quality of your life? And this is where these two questions are really important, because I'll ask someone, what income would change the quality of your life? Or how much income would you like to achieve? And they'll say 6 figures. But then when I ask them, how much time are you willing to reach your goals? And they'll say 20 hours a week. I'm like, okay, here's where the two don't align. 20 hours a week and earning 6 figures a year, unless you are a needle in a haystack, it's just rare. I mean, you know that because you're a multiple 6-figure income earner. You know that they don't match. And so that's where I really want to define that and help them understand that. And then, of course, if they're a product user, I'll ask them, do you keep your options open to earning additional streams of income? And then 2, I'll just paint the picture for them. Like I'll use words like imagine. Imagine what it would be like when you can earn an additional $500 to $1,000 a month. Now, here's another mindset trick that I learned with this, because I would ask people, imagine earning $10,000 a month. And people just could not resonate with that because their money mindset, their money blueprint wasn't there. So I've learned to ask people, $500 to $1,000 a month, because people can grasp that a little better. Or, imagine if your car payment could be paid for. Imagine getting your products paid for. But I was not having as many leads or I would turn people off when I would use terms like, imagine earning $10,000 a month, because again, a lot of people can't resonate with that money mindset. And then, I'll ask them, how long have you been looking for other options? And then after we've talked for about 15, 20 minutes, I'll just say, do you have enough information to get started? And that just closes it out. And if they're not ready, then I just leave it out there and say, you know how to contact me, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, you have my number. And, when you're ready to get started, I'm here for you. I might follow up 1 or 2 times, but I usually just let it go.
I was just typing furiously. So good. Well, one quick question, when we were going back to the third question of asking them how much income would change the quality of your life. Do you ask that if someone is only reaching out on product, or is that something you still ask just to see what they say, or do you kind of feel out the conversation?
I usually fill out the conversation, but that's usually just for somebody who's interested in the business. Now on products, I will talk to them about getting their products paid for. I used to use business a lot in the beginning, like, hey, would you like to start a business? Or would you be interested in the business of isogenics? And I feel like that would overwhelm people a little bit, because imagine talking to, like, if somebody talked to you in the beginning about starting a business, you'd be like, no, I'm a successful real estate.
They did. I was like, I didn't even have time to watch the video you sent me before this. I don't have time to do it.
I'm not interested. But when you put it, or when I put it in terms of, let's, getting your products paid for and just helping them achieve consultant, which is, and I.
Oops. She's frozen. You guys, are you loving this? If you're loving this, why don't you type your top takeaway in the chat bar? I think that's been so helpful so far. Bridget, you're frozen.
Crushing it, Bridget.
And like she said,
that tends to translate better with people. Now,
I think we lost her totally. It booted her off.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I don't know what just happened.
We don't see you. Oh, there you are again. Okay, hold on. I'm going to pin you again. All right, go ahead. Sorry, we lost you for a moment. So you were saying you kind of feel people out. One other question I was going to ask you is when you get on the phone and you've never spoken to this person, they came in from LinkedIn or they came in from, Facebook, but maybe they're not someone you really know well. What's that first few minutes of the conversation look like before you dive into the questions?
I will just ask them questions, basic life questions. Where do you live? Where are you from? What's your background? I'll look for something to create that connection with them and find something to, like I have a new teammate and he's in politics. So my connection is, my enrolling sponsor, her sister is the UN ambassador with Trump. Like that was my connection. If it's somebody who is originally like from South Carolina or they're in Los Angeles and I'll talk about my family living there, I find some sort of connection. I mean, when you ask questions and just talk to people, because you've already connected with them on social media, you're going to have some sort of connection. Some way, one way or the other, whether they're a mom, whether they're a fitness fanatic, whether there's going to be a connection.
Perfect. I just typed in form. So like you were saying, that kind of reminder of like family, like you said, or from occupation, what do they do? Recreation, meaning, all those things. But
right.
That's perfect.
Because by the time we get on the phone with them, we've already chatted with them a little bit, on social media, and we've seen them enough on social media that we know a foundation, I feel like, of who they are.
Could you give us a couple of ideas? So you're giving us great questions and really a really gentle closing, which is, do you have the info you need to get started? I think that so many people are afraid of objections and also wanting to constantly overcome, but often an objection is just a sign of interest. So when you ask them, is there anything else you need? Someone was going to let you know. Walk us through, if you were going to do, let's say 2 to 3 income producing activities a day, where exactly do you spend your time?
So 2 to 3 income producing activities. So the first thing, I'm huge on personal development. So my day for me actually started today doing personal development. And then I'm always meditating, doing quiet time, because for me that grounds my whole day and it sets the intention for the day. I'm always prospecting on social media. I'm always writing some sort of content because, again, it's just ideas for me. And I've noticed this because there have been days that I don't have my quiet time. I don't do my meditation, but I will get so many ideas when I can just shut my brain off, and it just, like, God just gives it. I mean, it's, unless you've experienced it, it's hard to articulate that into words, but I really do get a lot of ideas. And then, like today I spent time in my back office. Mondays I typically run reports. I look at my business blueprint. I'm looking at who rank advanced. I'm looking at all the new consultants. We had a new 2-star in our team this week. So, I'll say congratulations. So for me, like on Mondays, I'll spend time doing that. But right now I'm in a team building phase. So for me, up until celebration, I'll spend a lot more time doing like experience isogenics presentations, doing more lunch and learns, doing more business opportunity or business trainings, because what we're wanting to do in our team up until celebration is to do like a blitz to really invite people to the event, because you know how last minute people will want to join the event. So it really just goes through phases. Because again, like the summertime, we'll do like a summer glow talk. So we're, in the midst of putting that together. We're getting ready for the company-wide bedtime belly buster challenge. But as far as, the 3 things every single day, definitely the quiet time, the meditation, spending time in the back office, looking at your team, encouraging them. I'm huge on sending messages to my team, even if it's just, hey girl, hope everything's going well. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, or like, when's your next cleanse day? Just something to some degree.
I love that. I know that Brittany had some questions for her, but I was going to say, just to the meditation, I feel the same way. The days that I feel like I'm too busy, I'm like, oh my gosh, I realize that's when you need it the most. It's those times that you're rushing. You feel like you're being really busy, but not productive. And it says, Jeffrey says, it's like the slow down to speed up. Right.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's true. When I feel the most overwhelmed or most busy, that's when I know that I require it the most. And I will. It just literally just shuts my brain off. And then it's like, okay, this is what you require to do. And I live by list. I mean, again, having kids and the business is changing, I feel like weekly, but I live by list. I mean, on Sundays, I create my schedule for the week, when I'm going to work out, to my meals, to when I'm going to the grocery store, like everything And then I have a list that I go through every single day of things that I've got to get done.
I love that. We are list makers as well. And one thing I want to point out, and then Brittany's got some questions to ask, is if you guys don't notice on here, listen to Bridgette's language. She doesn't use the word need ever. She uses the word require. I require. And so when we start shifting our focus about being really intentional in our language about I require this, or I'm committed to this, instead of I've got to do this, it is so strong, and it totally retrains the way our brain is. But it also is really amazing when you're talking to a prospect, right? Because people may not notice it, but it totally shifts the way that people listen to you and perceive you. So I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about how you've changed your language, because I know it's something you don't even seem like you're doing it. It's just who you are.
Well, the thing about it, Rebecca, and in the beginning, I experienced a place where I felt like I had to build the business out of, like I was producing out of scarcity, where like I had to do it. And I really did have to do it. But over the time, I realized, okay, I really do have something valuable to offer people, because I know what my experience has been on the system. I've seen hundreds of people on our team and company experience the same thing. So coming from that place of, I have something to offer you, and it's, if you want it, you don't. And I don't take it personal. And one of the things that really helped me with that shift in mindset, and I think it's mostly girls on here, so you'll understand this. When I had a clothing line, me and one of my good friends, we had a clothing line a few years ago. And when we would be in stores, the analogy of when people would come in a store, and some people didn't want to buy anything at all, but I didn't take it personal, because you know what? It just wasn't for them. But then when they bought something, of course it was exciting, but I never took it personal, because it was never about me. It was about them. And so when I thought, why is it not the same? And it really is. I just don't take it personal. I mean, I really don't.
That's really powerful. Thank you. Brittany, are you back on?
I am. Sorry, guys. So I got booted and had to boot back in. Well, thank you, Brigitte. You're just on fire. I love everything that you just shared, and it's so much in alignment. This is why we can collaborate as powerful women, because it's so in alignment with what Rebecca and I teach our team. So thank you so much for your content. I had a question, because I know everyone on here is at different places in their growth, in their business. And it's so easy to look at women that are producing and go, well, gosh, it's easy for them, right? Like they can do that but what would you say to someone in terms of posture? Like because you started from scratch, just like we all have, but when you were first in those beginning stages, before you were 5-star, before you had success, what were the strategies that you use daily to have that posture when you get on the phone and you start to talk to people about building an income from home or joining your team? What was that for you, just to kind of share with those people that might be on the line that are just starting?
Yeah. So, I know in the beginning that we get stuck in our head. I don't know why. If somebody asks you about, like, okay, say that we live in the same town. I'm like, okay, Brittany, I'm going to a party next Friday night. Where can I shop? And you're like, and you can just spit out all types of cute places to shop and your experience there. But if I ask you about your nutrition program, you completely lock up. And I don't know why we do that. I don't know. I mean, it's that perfection. But I think when we can really just speak from experience and to realize we don't have to know all the details of what's in the product, because people ultimately, they want to know, how's it going to make them feel? When you share your story, you can relate it to spirituality. Like I can share my spirituality story, my faith, my beliefs, and everybody has their story, and you just speak from your story. And they're not going to debate it with you, because you can't debate somebody's story. But I feel like when we can really just break it down to, this is my experience, this is what happened with me, and this is what it can, it's just speaking about how it can make them feel, that emotion of it.
I love that. Thank you. And then the last question I had, because I know we're getting ready to wrap up here, but in terms of managing your time, now you and I, we have 3 kids each. So I get it. I understand, like the lists on Sunday, that's the way my brain works too, because it's what's required to make our life work, right? But how do you, I work in 15-minute blocks. A lot of times I'll teach my team to work in little sprints. What is your daily method of operations in that flow? And how much time are you spending on different things? Because I think that's where a lot of women get overwhelmed with this business is they don't know how much time they're spending on each thing. So what does that look like for you?
Well, it depends on where I'm not always in prospecting mode. So there's like cycles I know that, we have in our business. And right now I'm just in team building mode. So I'm not really out to prospect. So I'll spend at least say 2 or 3 hours a day. Well, of course it depends on how many hours a day I have to produce, but I'll always spend time, connecting with teammates, encouraging them. Yes, I'm always still prospecting and putting it out there. Always wanting to present the opportunity and the product to people, but then also having multiple lead sources. Facebook should not be your only lead source. Facebook, LinkedIn, have multiple lead sources. I think that is so important. Craigslist, meetup groups, Chamber of Commerce groups. There's so many things that we can, use to create contacts. But, really, hold on, I'm trying to figure out, okay. It's really just where you are in your business and then really defining that time. And one of the biggest things that really helped me be more effective in my business, because the first couple of years in the business, I built 24/7, like to the point of burnout. And so one of the things I had to learn to do was to schedule my family time and my rest time, just like I would production time. And so that really helped because I was more effective in my production time because I had my rest time. As Rebecca said earlier, take time to slow down to speed up. And so that was a key thing that really helped me too. And then your energy changes, your just everything about that changes. But I still think, every day having, key things to really build your team, build your prospects. There's like the 3 rule that Susan Sly talks about, sending gratitude to 3 people, connecting with 3 new people a day, building up 3 new teammates a day. Just those 3 simple things can do a lot. And one of the things that I don't want to go over on time too much, but one of the things when people are stuck in their business and when they approach me or associates approach me where they're frustrated because they feel like they're stuck in their business, my first question that I always ask them is, how many people have you talked to? How many people are you talking to a day? And y'all know one of my good friends, Jennifer, she's done well in isogenics. And, if I'm saying something to her, like something about our business, she'll say her first question to me always, how many people are you talking to a day? And I'm like, okay, you're right. That's right.
So true, right? I'd be like, how do you do network marketing? You talk to people, then you talk to some more people. And somewhere along the line, you start to develop the skills and the mindset and the confidence. And I love what you shared with your story in the beginning is the overcoming the challenges, right? Because everybody has those challenges and it's like those habits, the mindset. I'm the same with you guys in the morning. If I don't meditate, I don't produce until I meditate. I have to meditate before I even allow myself to get into my office space because it's that essential for clarity. So I love it. And thank you so much for sharing it. You provided so much value for us today. So we really appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, dear. Thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll get out the recording to everyone later today. And make sure, we'll also get you the list. So Bridget, if you want to send me over the list, I will upload it with the recording.
I will. I'll type it up and send it to you now.
All right, everyone, challenge to you is how many people are you talking to today and then tomorrow and Wednesday, etc. Right, have a great one. Bye.
Thanks, girl.